When we take our seat, you take Erica's and take your nameplate.
Where you gonna go?
I'm going to take Alex's seat.
Okay.
God, this fever is terrible. We good? Welcome, everyone. Excuse my voice. Per Board Bylaw 0151, organizational meeting. The Ohio Revised Code 3313.14, annual organizational meeting is what that's all about. And as outgoing president, I will begin the meeting as president pro tem until the election of the president takes place further down on the agenda. So I'm going to now pound the gavel for official term. And I call to order the January 12th, 2015 organizational meeting of the Cincinnati Board of Education. We welcome everyone and request that everyone, please in the audience, silence their cell phones. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and our veteran member will lead us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mrs. Wagner, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Bates?
Present.
Mrs. Copeland-Dansby?
Present.
Mrs. Hoffman?
Here.
Mr. Coons?
Here.
Mr. Manera?
Here.
Mr. Nelms? Here. President Bolton?
Present. We're now at the part of the agenda to have the election of the president, and the chair is interested in having nominations for the presidency. Mrs. Copeland-Dansby?
Thank you. I'll be happy to nominate board member Alex Coons as president.
Great. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you. We will, nominations closed, nominations are closed, and we will have a roll call of the vote, please, for the presidency.
Mrs. Bates?
Aye.
Mrs. Copeland Dansby?
Aye.
Mrs. Hoffman?
Aye.
Mr. Coons?
Aye.
Mr. Benera?
Aye.
Mr. Nelms?
Aye.
Mrs. Bolton?
Aye. Thank you. Congratulations.
Yes.
Pick up as per our tradition. This is, we have the president's piece. I think mine's like food.
I'll let you do it. I don't want to break my fingernails.
Interim Treasurer Wagner, I now need you to administer the oath of office to yours truly.
Okay. If you will stand and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Alex Coons,
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge the duties of President of the Board of Education
and that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge the duties of the Board President
of the Cincinnati City School District
of the Cincinnati City School District
of Cincinnati, Ohio,
of Cincinnati, Ohio,
during my continuance in office.
during my continuance in office.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've prepared some remarks, if I can find them. It's in one of these stacks. Just a moment, please. It's a staple page. Okay. 2014 was a benchmark year for Cincinnati Public Schools. We negotiated a new collective bargaining agreement with the Cincinnati Federation of Teachers and our other union groups. Our voters passed a historic renewal levy. Our city hosted a national convention exhibiting our community learning centers, and the Board of Education welcomed 3 new board members into its ranks. I'm certain I speak for the whole board when I say that the leadership of our veteran president, Eve Bolton, was instrumental in all of these accomplishments. And Ms. Bolton, we appreciate all the hard work, dedication, and passion you've displayed over these past 12 monumental months.
Privilege to begin my role as Vice President of the Board of Education. I would also like to take a moment to publicly acknowledge our outgoing president, Mrs. Eve Bolton. I have immensely enjoyed working with you over the year, and I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed all of our meetings and time together. And in all honesty, everything that I've learned from you, a tremendous, tremendous role model. To Mr. Chris Nelms, I thank you immensely for your leadership and your awesome display of what it really means to be a community servant. We have known each other for a very long time. We've worked on several projects together, but this by far has been the greatest. And so I thank you for your model of leadership. As I think of the work of the board over the past year, I think it's fair to say that the work that we have in place for children and families is ongoing. It has been challenging and it is nonstop. We've faced many challenges. We've overcome many hurdles together. Tough decisions have been made, and I'm sure many will follow. A couple things that I can personally attest to is the professionalism and leadership of our district superintendent and our administration. Your unwavering desire to ensure a great education for every child and every family is evident in the work that you do daily. I'm looking forward to our continued progress of this year and well into the future. I can also personally attest to the dedication and commitment of our employees. and the work in our buildings and what happens on the ground every single day. Our principals, our teachers, and other school staff are amongst the most amazing people that I know. I have personally spent time in our schools, and I have been blown away with the implementation of rigorous curriculum, strong school leadership, and the support of to the district's children and families through our community learning centers, our health centers, and more. And so looking forward, there are many issues, again, facing the district. As the board continues to work through its priorities, I stand ready to continue to support you all, as well as my own personal growth and development. Together, we will prepare our students for life. So thank you.
One of the first pleasures that I have as board president is to help decide where we sit. And so I have recommendations based on some requests, et cetera. We'll have, and I think I'm going to ask Phyllis or Pat to help move names and stuff around. We'll have Elisa in this seat, followed by Daniel Manera.
No.
Ms. Kopa-Dansby and myself. Senior board member will keep her spot, Ms. Bates, followed by Chris and Eve. You're next to Ms. Bates. Yes, you're where Lisa is.
Much love. Bye, Mary.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Chris and then Eve. Thank you.
This is eager.
Thank you for entertaining that, fellow board members. Now, per board bylaw 0155, committees and board protocol, committee assignments were requested by all board members at the end of last year. Now, at the organizational meeting, the newly selected president will recommend committee structures and member assignments per board approval. And that makeup is as follows. For Finance Committee, Melanie Bates, Eve Bolton, Erica Copeland-Dansby. Partnership and Public Engagement Committee, Erica Copeland-Dansby, Daniel Manera, and Chris Nelms. Policy Committee, Elisa Hoffman, Chris Nelms, Eve Bolton. Student Achievement Committee, Melanie Bates, Elisa Hoffman, and Daniel Manera. Also, we have the 2015 board organization appointments. Cincinnati Recreation Commission, Chris Nelms. Ohio School Boards Association Board of Trustees, Chris Nelms. OSBA Legislative Liaison, Alex Coons. OSBA Southwest Region Executive Committee, Chris Nelms. OSBA Urban School District Advisory Network, Eve Bolton. Activities Beyond the Classroom, Alex Coons. Council of Great City Schools, Melanie Bates. Cheviot Tax Review Council, Melanie Bates. Early Childhood Policy Committee, Alex Coons. Family and Civic Engagement Committee, Daniel Manera. Discipline Committee, Daniel Manera. And so, board members, there have just been a couple changes from what you have printed in front of you. I need a motion to approve the 2015 board committee's schedule.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Nelms. Is there a second?
Second.
Can I just ask a question? I thought on the Discipline Committee, were there going to be two serving?
My apologies.
There are. It's okay. Manera and
Yes, to announce it.
Daniel Manera and Ms. Dansby.
and that is also true for activities beyond the classroom.
Alex Coons and Erica Copeland-Dansby for that one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bolton.
Yes.
Ms. Wagner, please call the roll.
Mrs. Bates?
Aye.
Mrs. Bolton?
Aye.
Ms. Copeland-Dansby?
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman? Mr. Venera?
Aye.
Mr. Nelms?
Aye.
President Coons?
Aye. And I now need a board member. I'm going to pick Board Member Manera. Please present the organizational business item resolution for board consideration. It's a full board resolution, so.
Is it down? Okay. All right, I would like to present a resolution to approve the 2015 organizational meeting business items. I would like to present it as written.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion or comments? Ms. Wagner, please call the roll.
Aye.
Ms. Bolton?
Aye.
Ms. Copeland?
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman? Aye. Mr. Manera?
Aye.
Mr. Nelms?
Aye.
President Coons?
Aye. Mr. Nelms, will you please present the resolution for board consideration?
I have a resolution recognizing former Robert A. Taft alumnus Dwayne Stanford and Adolphus Washington. And unless you've been living in a cave, listen up. Whereas Cincinnati Public Schools Board of Education believes that extracurricular activities are integral and valuable in its part of the educational process and participation in such activities that enhances the overall academic experience of its students. And whereas CPS district has a rich heritage and tradition of outstanding athletic programs, teams, coaches, and athletes. And whereas the athletic program at Robert A. Taft Information Technological High School cultivates into its student athletes the skills necessary to succeed on the playing field, in the classroom, and throughout life. And whereas Robert A. Taft School will have the distinction of seeing two of its class of 2011 graduates, Dwayne Stanford, a wide receiver who will wear number 85 for the University of Oregon Ducks, and Adolphus Washington, a defensive lineman who will wear number 92 for the Ohio State University Buckeyes, square off on opposite sides of the ball at the very first playoff game to determine the National Collegiate Athletic Association Division I football championship that will be held tonight, January 12th, in Dallas, Texas. And whereas while seniors Robert A. Taft both were voted first team all-conference, Southwest Ohio District, first team all-Ohio, and were also picked to play in the prestigious 2010 Army High School All-American Bowl, played in San Antonio, Texas, thereby earning them outstanding recognition as the high school football All-Americans. Whereas both Stanford and Washington played pivotal roles on Taft's 2011 Division III state championship basketball team that defeated Cleveland Central Catholic 95-52 in the championship game, matching the largest margin of victory in the history of the Ohio State Boys Basketball Championship Tournament across all divisions. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education recognizes former Robert A. Taft High School student athletes Dwayne Stanford and Adolphus Washington for their continued athletic success and ability to integrate athletics and higher education. And be it finally resolved that the Board of Education wishes both Dwayne Stanford and Adolphus Washington success on the field tonight during the championship game in Dallas, Texas. And I submit as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion or comments from the board members?
Well, I want to say, although both Dwayne and Adolphus are both from Taft, this is really a district-wide achievement, and it continues to speak to the type of student athletes that we continue to develop, hone, and prepare, not only for going to college for academic prowess and success, but also athletic prowess and success. I know both of them personally, watched them grow up, and also I know both of their parents who also have attended Cincinnati Public Schools. So this is an unprecedented achievement, and the district should really be proud of both of them playing tonight. So tune in and be neutral, and may the best team win.
It certainly is a monumentous occasion, Mr. Nelms, and I appreciate you bringing forth this resolution. Ms. Wagner, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Bates?
Aye.
Ms. Bolton?
Aye.
Ms. Copeland Dansby?
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman? Aye. Mr. Manera?
Aye.
Mr. Nelms?
Aye.
President Coons?
Aye. Mrs. Bates, will you please present your resolution for board consideration?
Yes, but before I do, I want to point out that this is also the public hearing for this tax budget. And before I bring forward the resolution, I would like to ask if there's anybody in the audience who would like to speak to the tax budget. Since that's what's typically done during a public hearing. And we're doing double duty here tonight, right, Ms. Wagner?
Correct.
No one's here. Amazing, nobody's here to speak to the tax.
We're taxed.
So, hearing no one come forward, then I will bring forward the resolution. for the modified tax budget for the fiscal year 2016, whereas the Cincinnati Board of Education held a public hearing, which we just did, Monday, January the 12th, 2015, on the following tax budgets proposed for the fiscal year 2016. One, for current operating expenditures, 12 months, July the 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2016, general fund, in the total amount of $520,294,443. Two, for retirement of bonded debt, 12 months, July the 1st, 2015 through June the 2nd, 2016, bond retirement fund in the total amount of $61,466,606. And whereas a notice of this public hearing was published in the Cincinnati Enquirer on December the 26th, 2014, and whereas copies of said budgets have been available for public inspection for at least 10 days in the office of the treasurer, and whereas the board has given full consideration to the various views expressed, now therefore be it resolved that that the fiscal year 16 tax budgets for the general fund in the amount of $520,294,443 and the bond retirement fund in the amount of $61,466,606 be adopted, and be it finally resolved that the treasurer be and is hereby directed to file copies of said budgets with the county auditor as required by law. The tax budget is attached, and I propose this resolution for adopted as printed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Bates and Ms. Bolton. Is there any discussion or comments? Fantastic. Ms. Wagner, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Bates?
Aye.
Ms. Bolton?
Aye.
Copeland Dansby?
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman?
Aye.
Mr. Manera?
Aye.
Aye.
President Coons?
Aye. Immediately following adjournment of this meeting, the following board committees will conduct a brief meeting in the board's conference room to elect their committee chairs and to determine their meeting schedule. This is a public meeting. These are all public meetings, and you are all welcome to attend. It will happen in this order: Finance, then Partnership and Public Engagement, then Policy, and finally Student Achievement Committee. Having no other business to come before the board, I declare the meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Are we going to the
Boardroom.
That's right. Minute they come out. A friend of mine who was interested in the conversation too. Fantastic. I know. Well, it could be, yeah. So we'll see if Joe is interested in that one. If there's anything else that comes up, I couldn't believe when I was walking out. I was like, what? He's been working there for years. And he said he's always worked on a national team for Teach America, and he wants to get more involved locally in Cincinnati. And I was like, go to Mary, tell Mary now.
Oh my God, yes, before we even start those interviews, please tell me. Oh, yeah, this
I will let
is
him-
fabulous. Which one do you think you do better?
I think the data one. I think the woman that I knew might be.
Because I know what Eric is not, right?
Erica, yeah.
We both got like a